Pastor Russ here with Hope for today. Most of you know that I grew up in the rural South. The area that I grew up in was populated with many oak trees, an abundance of oak trees. In the South, oak trees are often referred to as the mighty oak, as they truly are great and majestic trees. They grow to be about 60 to 100 feet tall. Most people don't know, though, that the mighty oak comes from a very small little seed. We refer to it as simply an acorn. It's about the size of a Hershey's Kiss. The family home that I grew up in was actually the home my mom grew up in. The home actually sat on top of a hill, and it had a very large front yard sloping down to the street below. We had about 6 or 7 mighty oaks in our front yard. They formed a beautiful canopy that literally allowed very little sunlight to come through and actually hit our front yard. Those mighty oaks also provided a home for many squirrels who enjoyed a lot of those acorns as well. It also provided some much appreciated shade for us during the hot summer months as well. The wood from the oak tree is used to make some of the strongest furniture you can buy even still today. And again, where did that mighty oak come from? It came from that tiny little seed. That incredible power to produce that gigantic oak resides in that tiny little seed, again, about the size of a Hershey's Kiss. It didn't take 2 or 3 acorns to make the mighty oak. It only took 1. I want to remind you that there is an incredible power that lives inside of you, that lives inside of me. It's the Spirit of the living God. And it doesn't take more than just one person. It just takes you with the Spirit of God working inside of us to do the impossible, to serve with power, to stand strong in the midst of storms. In Ephesians chapter 1, beginning in verse 19, the great missionary Paul talks about this mighty power that dwells within us. He writes these words. He says, "I pray that you will begin to understand the incredible greatness of his power for us who believe in him." So Paul is literally praying, asking God, help us to understand this great power that lives inside of us. He says, this is the same mighty power that raised Christ from the dead and seated him in the place of honor at God's right hand in the heavenly realms. Did you know that the same power that raised Jesus from the dead resides in you? It is that power of God that enables us to live out the Christian life, not in our own strength, but through the strength of God that dwells within us. That indeed is a mighty oak.